Welcome back to the podcast. Today we are talking about a gift that you can give yourself this holiday season that has nothing to do with presents or decorations. It's the gift of space. Specifically, we'll look at how decluttering, specifically your schedule, can bring you a deeper sense of peace and joy this holiday season by allowing you to focus on what truly matters. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Flora, certified simplification coach and 7-time author. And for over 27 years, I've been helping women like you align into a life and a business that you are wildly obsessed with by helping you clear out the 9 types of clutter keeping you from a life that you love. What are those 9 types of clutter? They are mental, spiritual, emotional, digital, financial, daily, body, process, and environmental clutter. My YouTube page is where I share my environmental decluttering tips, and here on the podcast, I share with you how to declutter the rest. Please subscribe or follow this feed so you get notified every single time an episode is released. Now let's dive into today's topic. I want you to picture your holiday. And I want you to picture what your calendar looks like. What is on your calendar? Is it typically brimming with activities from family functions, events, social gatherings to last-minute shopping, maybe work obligations? If you're an entrepreneur, maybe it's putting out that last launch for the end of the year so that you can fill up your next year's schedule. Really think about this. And typically, for most people this time of year, it feels really rushed. It feels really overwhelming. And it often will lead you feeling burnt out, tired, resentful, all the feels, instead of feeling happy, present, and joyful. Does that sound familiar? Now, this is actually daily clutter that shows up during the holidays. And especially, if you're feeling rushed, if you're feeling constantly busy instead of productive, or struggling to find this free time in your day so that you can really enjoy this holiday season, this is daily clutter in action. You may even feel mentally weighed down by all the endless to-dos that you feel like you have to do, feeling like there's really never any time to do all the things that you want to do. And when your schedules are so cluttered, it's so easy to feel stretched thin. And again, you're not able to be or feel fully present in what you're doing. So today we're going to actually explore how to clear some of this daily clutter so that you can reclaim your time and create a space for meaningful connection and meaningful moments this holiday season. I'm so excited. So the first thing is identify what matters. So when you're feeling overloaded with obligations and things on your to-do list, it's really hard to focus on what's truly important because, you feel like a lot of these urgent things are urgent and important when they're actually just urgent and they're not important, but we still tend to put them first. And you can really easily get caught up in these commitments that you feel like you have to do or you feel obligated. And sometimes these tasks feel like maybe you're pressured to do them because this is just what society does. Like, I don't do Black Friday sales, but so many of my peers and so many of the people who are entrepreneurs do Black Friday sales. They do holiday sales. I don't do them. I don't discount my work. I don't do sales of any kind. And that is outside of the norm. But for me, that is something that I don't do. I've chosen to step out of that perceived obligation that most businesses fall into during that time of year. So this is where the mental and emotional clutter can often kind of come into play. Have you ever felt guilty about saying no or kind of wrestled with the fear of letting someone down, such as your clients if you don't do a Black Friday sale? Or maybe your family, if you have these obligations at work or in your company that you don't have time to spend time with them. And so it's this amalgamation, this kind of melting pot, if you will, of these perceived obligations, the fear of letting people down, and the things that we feel like we have to do or must do, that we need to do. It's this excuse the vernacular. It's kind of a clusterfuck of things that are going on in here. And this can cause a ton of emotional and mental clutter. And these, mental and emotional clutter impacts and influences the choices that you make. So I want you to pause as you're listening to this, and I want you to think about what would make this holiday season really meaningful for you. I want you to take a moment to just kind of, sit back and just kind of think about that. And I want you to think about and consider what 3 things, three things that you could look back at the end of the year that would make you feel completely fulfilled and connected during this holiday season. Really just think about that. What 3 things, like at the end of the year, December 31st, end of the year, it's almost midnight, and you look back at the last couple of months, okay? What 3 things would have felt good for you to do, to engage in, to experience, to make the next couple of months feel so damn good, like so perfect? What might those be? I want you to just kind of sit with this for a second, pause this if you need to, and I want you to consider that these 3 things will be your priorities for the next few months, okay? Just really consider that. Now, maybe it's quality time with your loved ones. Maybe it's reconnecting with friends. Maybe it's even having some quiet time to reflect and recharge, just to be in the moment of all the things that matter to you. It might just be having a cup of coffee and just like looking at the holiday lights, or just being, and just, you don't really have to do anything. You just have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or a cup of lemonade, whatever it is that you like to drink, and just be, and just notice and just recognize, wow, like I'm healthy, I'm with the people I love, everything is so good. And just recognize the moment that you're in. How does that feel for you? Just think about that. What would it feel like if you went through this holiday season without rushing? Without doing all the things that all the other business owners are doing, and without the fear of FOMO, like, fear of missing out. Like, what if you created your own agenda for this holiday season? I have so many episodes on this podcast talking about priorities and daily clutter and how to create a day and a life that is so meaningful for you. But I mean, I could preach and teach this all day long until you actually sit down to do it. And so, especially this time of year, we get sidetracked by a mountain of to-dos. We get sidetracked by all the things, again, that society is telling us we need to do. Our family is telling us we need to do. That dream version of ourselves that we always want to have happen but never have enough time to do. So take a few moments as you're listening to this and afterwards to get really clear about what you want your priorities to be over the next couple of months. Now, when you sit back and you create these 3 priorities, I want you to pull out your calendar and I want you to look at it. And I want you to go through each commitment or event that you have written down so far. And you can even grab a sticky note and put it in your calendar, your day planner, whatever, to remind you to ask yourself before you put anything new in your calendar, is this a priority? Is this one of my priorities that I want to experience over the next couple of months during this holiday season? And really ask yourself, does this commitment, does this event, does this priority, does this thing that I'm putting in my calendar, does it align with my priorities? Does it align with how I want to be and feel and show up during this time of year? And if it doesn't, ask yourself, okay, why am I even doing this if this doesn't align with how I want to show up over the next couple of months? If it does align, perfect. Pencil it in. Put it in your calendar. Okay? And this is process clutter. Here's where process clutter comes into play. Process clutter shows up as unnecessary steps or routines that we cling to, and we don't even really know why. And again, a lot of the time during the holiday season, we do things because that's how it's always been done, and we don't actually stop to think, do I really need to be doing this? Okay. So again, maybe you have a series of holiday things that you do, holiday tasks or holiday traditions that maybe don't resonate with you anymore. Maybe they can be simplified. Maybe your traditions can be streamlined. Ask yourself, are there certain things that I'm doing because that's how it's always been done, or because I really want to do them? So I want you to ask yourself before you put anything in your calendar, does this align with how I want to experience this time of year? I actually have a story right now that I want to share with you. Those of you who have been with me in my memberships have heard this story before, and it's just brilliant. I love it. So every holiday season, there's a couple, and they make their traditional holiday ham. And one of the members of the couple very gingerly cuts the ends of the ham off, bastes the ham, does all the fancy things to it, cooks it, comes out. It's just fabulous. And this person's partner asked them, babe, why do you cut the ends of your ham off? And they said, you know what? I'm not really sure, but this is how my mom always did it. So let me call her. Ring, ring, Mom. Hey, why do you cut the ends of your ham off? And the mom is like, gosh, I don't even know. That's what Granddad always did. And I never asked him why he did it. So I don't know, maybe you can call him and ask. And so they're like, all right, cool. So they call the granddad and he's like, hello. And it's like, hey, Granddad, I have a question for you. He's like, shoot. Okay, we're making your holiday ham and we're wondering, why do you cut the ends of your ham off? And he goes, oh my gosh, really? That's your question? They're like, yes. And he said, well, so that it will fit in the pan. And they're floored. They're like, what? Well, yeah, our pan is a small pan and we always get a giant ham, so we have to cut the ends of it off so that it will fit in the pan. Now think about this. You have 3 generations of people cutting the ends of the ham off, the granddad, the mom, and then the kid. And 2 of the generations had no clue why they were cutting the ends of the ham off. The first one did, but never made it known because they thought probably it was assumed we have a giant ham, a small pan, there you go, So this happens all the time. We get taught or we observe someone doing something and think that that's the way it needs to be done because the ham was fabulous, it was decadent, ooh, this is so delicious. And so you want to copy and hopefully create that same impact, whether this is traditions that maybe served you in the past and now it kind of feels lackluster, it kind of feels a little bit overkill that you're just like, I don't have time to do all this stuff. Or maybe it's one of those things that actually does feel meaningful and yeah, you know what, I really truly want to do this. And maybe they'll keep cutting the ends of the ham off in memory and in tradition of the grandfather to keep his memory alive after he crosses over. So thinking about and clearing a few non-essentials in your holiday season and in whatever it is that you're doing can make a massive difference in your energy, with your time, and even with how you experience the situations. And whether it's a little holiday party or game night during that, whatever it is, it can absolutely create such a drastic experience, and it can allow you to feel so much more present and have so much of a richer memory of that experience because you were fully present. You weren't stressed to the max because you've been so stretched thin doing all the things that are really just sometimes posturing. Now, this wouldn't be a podcast about the holidays if I didn't touch on boundaries. Now, many of us feel the weight of expectation of this holiday season, and it's very easy to slip into saying yes to every single obligation that comes our way. But here's the thing. Emotional clutter thrives when you're constantly saying yes at the expense of your own well-being. Setting boundaries by saying no doesn't mean that you're actually shutting people out. It means that you're honoring what matters most to you and the life that you have worked so hard to create and that you're currently creating. Now, a boundary during this time of year could be just as simple as only attending events that light you up, that make you feel excited to go, not because you feel obligated to show up for whatever reason, whether it's a work event, your spouse's work event. Really give yourself permission to be honest with the people in your life about the energy that you want to experience and what you want to experience this holiday season. And again, you've set out those 3 priorities of what you want to feel, what you want to experience, how you want to embody this energy during this holiday season, and give yourself permission to practice articulating that before you actually have these conversations with people in your life. It's okay to say no. Every no to something non-essential is a yes to what truly matters. I'm going to actually say that again. Every no to something non-essential is a yes to what truly matters. Now that I've shared all that, I want to share with you a couple of practical steps that you can take to really implement this in your holiday season. So the first thing, again, that we talked about previously is identify your priorities. Start with your top 3 priorities for the season. This is really going to help you stay focused on what matters most to you and your family this season. The second thing is to review and declutter. Go through your calendar, consider each and every commitment, each and every event. And for each one, I want you to ask yourself if this supports your priorities and the experience that you want to have. And if it doesn't, look for ways to simplify, reschedule, or just simply let it go, delete it, declutter it, cancel it, and just don't do it, okay? And 3, I want you to set and communicate boundaries. Clearly communicate your availability to your friends, your families, your colleagues, all the things. Let them know what your boundaries are. Let them know what your schedule is and what it looks like for the holiday season. Now, this might mean blocking out evenings for personal time or letting other people know when you're unavailable. Now, creating this space isn't about completely alienating yourself from everybody. It's actually quite the opposite. It's about being very intentional about how you spend your time and whom you spend your time with. And right now you're working towards creating a life and a business that matters to you, that just you are just wildly obsessed with. I mean, that's just not this cliche thing that I'm saying. I truly have seen this. I'm living proof that I'm living a life that I'm wildly obsessed with by being so intentional. And I have tons of podcast episodes about investing time versus spending time and how to be truly and deeply intentional about everything that you do in your life and in your business. So I want to share with you a quote, and I really like how this wraps up this whole episode. The space in which we live should be for the person we are becoming now and in the future, not for the person we were in the past. Now, this applies to both our physical spaces, our environments that we live in, as well as our schedules. This holiday season can be one of the best you've ever had. Create room for the experiences and the support for who you are and the life that you're building. Don't live from the echoes of the past, okay? If you not only want a potent and intentional holiday season, but you also want a potent and intentional next year for your life and your business, I have applications open right now for my upcoming calendar year. If you'd like to work with me for an entire year to work on your potency, to streamline your business, to simplify and get rid of all the unnecessary, non-essential things from your life so that you can start to experience a life that you truly are wildly obsessed with, click the link below. Let's jump on a call and let's talk. Let's continue this conversation. If you're watching this on YouTube, I invite you to share your experiences with holiday decluttering in the comments below. If you're listening to this on any podcast streaming platform, email me, flora@florasage.com, to share your experiences. If you found today's episode helpful, please subscribe, share it with your friends, and leave a review. Your support helps this podcast reach more people looking to declutter their lives and align into a life and a business that you are wildly obsessed with. I hope this serves you today, and I will see you back here next week. Mwah.